Welcome to this special called meeting for March 13th, 2020. Before we get started this evening, I do want to take a moment to bring the public up to date on our preparations regarding the state of emergency that is on the agenda this evening and what the city has been doing in the last really several weeks, but especially in the last couple of days, to protect the health. And only concern is for the health of our citizens and for our visitors and people who come to work here at our organization and anywhere within the city of Independence. I did declare a state of emergency, which will need to be confirmed by the proclamation that is on tonight's agenda. We moved this meeting from Monday while we continue to know that this situation is evolving, but it's important for us to be able to proceed with conducting some essential city business while we still have that opportunity. So the council meeting for the 16th has been canceled, and the study session for March 23rd has been canceled, and we will continue to monitor and see when we will resume our regular schedule of council meetings. We did release today a list of changes in service, closures, and cancellations as part of the state of emergency. I just want to review those briefly. This information is available on the city website and has been distributed through our social media platforms. Keep in mind that this situation is very fluid, and these are all subject to change, and there may be additional measures that are taken. So in terms of our city-owned facilities, we have ordered maintenance crews to increase regular cleaning rotations throughout the various buildings. We are not, City Hall is open, the police for business, the police station, and certainly fire stations, Independence Utility Center are all open for business, but we are conducting additional cleaning and sanitation of all facilities. Paying of utility bills. Customers may continue to come to the Independence Utility Center and pay your bill in person through the drive-through or at the cashier window. We do encourage payment online if you are able to. We do have an item tonight that would allow us to suspend the credit card processing fee if you choose to pay online. We will be doing no utility shutoffs until further notice. We want to encourage people to continue to practice some social distancing and wash your hands frequently, wash common surface frequently, and we understand that is largely dependent upon having water, sanitary sewer, and electricity. So we will not be executing any utility shutoffs until further notice. In terms of inspections, building, health, code enforcement, environmental, and fire inspections, we'll continue to provide normal inspections, but there will be daily safety briefings for our staff who come into direct contact with the public through these services. And once there is a confirmed case of COVID-19 in Jackson County, departments will suspend in-person contact with individuals and will evaluate the suspension of inspections. So that is yet to be determined once we have a confirmed case in Jackson County. The animal shelter will continue adoptions of animals, but it will be by appointment only. So you will need to call the animal shelter to schedule an adoption appointment until further notice. Recreation facilities and programs. Palmer Senior Center, Truman Memorial Building, Sermon Center, George Owen Nature Center, National Frontiers Trails Museum, and the Uptown Market are closed beginning Sunday, March 15th, until further notice. All the classes, programs, events, and activities have been canceled or postponed, and anybody who had a rental of any of those facilities will receive credits for future classes or a refund for canceled classes. Private rentals at the Uptown Market are an exception. The city does not provide on-site staff for private rentals at the Uptown Market, so those will be allowed to take place as scheduled if people wish to continue forward with their event that they have scheduled at the Uptown Market. The historic sites openings, the Vale, the Bingham, those were scheduled to begin April 1st. At this point, they have been delayed until April 11th, and we will continue to monitor that. We work through the Mid-America Regional Council to provide meals to our seniors who signed up for the on-site lunch program at the Palmer Senior Center. So we will continue to work with Mark to make sure that those people have meals while the Palmer Center is closed. Membership for some of our various city facilities, like the Sherman Center, will be extended past the expiration date as long as the facilities are closed. Municipal Court will be closed the weeks of March 16th and 23rd. Court clerks will be here to take payment at the windows, and further closures will be evaluated as this continues. The police department is implementing some operational adjustments, including work schedules and encouraging citizens to report certain types of incidents over the phone instead of using critical emergency resources. If you are requesting police services, please continue to call 911 for life-threatening emergencies. And if they're not emergencies, please use the non-emergency line, which is 816-836-3600, and our call takers will assign priority. The fire department is also making some adjustments, including enhancing our vetting when a 911 call is received to obtain more information critical to our response. We will also be reducing some of our non-essential activities that require crews to leave their stations. Our citizens should continue to call 911 for emergencies and the non-emergency line 816-836-3600 for non-emergencies. The 2020 census, there will be no census assistance centers available at this time. Many of you may have received your census this week or will be receiving it in the next few days. We encourage you to complete that online or by phone, or call the number that's included in the letter and request to complete that by mail. I am leading the Independence Complete Count Committee and will continue to coordinate this effort. Our intention was to have opportunities at various facilities around the community to assist people in completing the census, and that will not be possible until further notice. Food handlers and managers classes will continue normal operations with additional cleaning of the area after each class. Once there is a confirmed case of COVID-19, we'll suspend these classes. Silverstein Ice Center's arena, this is a city-owned facility. All events have been postponed through the first weekend of April. We will continue to work with the management company on daily operations and acts booked beyond that time, and just keep updating that as necessary. The household hazardous waste event scheduled for April 4th has been postponed. We will announce a makeup date when that's available. The Japanese Sister City delegation trip, the student trip to Higashi-Murayama, scheduled in June, has been canceled, and for this year that will resume in 2021. We are working closely with Jackson County Health Department. Earlier today, as I'm sure many of you know, the president declared a national state of emergency, and Governor Parson has done the same for the state of Missouri. So we're continuing to provide information through all of our various resources. Please understand that this is our #1 priority, so issues that are not directly related to that, while they still remain important and we are still here to serve you, please have some patience that we may not be as immediately as responsive as you're accustomed to, as we continue to make sure that we're doing all we can to protect the citizens in our community. With that, we will continue with our somewhat amended and revised agenda, but we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmembers Huff.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Doherty.
Here.
DeLucy.
Here.
Robertson.
Here.
Van Camp.
Here.
Mayor Weir.
Here. We do have one citizen request to address the council, as Lowell Croft, who wishes to speak regarding ordinance 20-023, first reading. Mr. Croft.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Lowell Croft, and I live at 4319 South Brentwood Street, and I have been a resident of Independence for over 45 years. I wish to speak about ordinance number 20-023, presented under the first readings on tonight's agenda. In particular, I want to speak regarding the municipal rate that is being proposed for the city's electric usage. In May of 2019, the council passed a resolution directing the city manager to develop a municipal rate to develop a municipal rate and authorizing a refund of $666,655 from IPL to the city for the fiscal year 2019 to 2020. There was no detail given as to how this refund was calculated, other than stating that since the new municipal rate will not be developed prior to the beginning of the fiscal year 2019 to 2020, the credit should be granted. I find this process to be a very questionable accounting practice. I also find it interesting that this came about at the same time that the city manager was struggling to balance the budget for said fiscal year. Coupled with the approximate savings of $460,000 that the city gained by removing the charges for the street lights from the budget for that same fiscal year, the city general fund was spared well over $1 million. As a result of those financial manipulations of funds, that $1 million+ worth of burden was shifted to the rest of the electric ratepayers. In the short term, it's pretty much undetectable due to the ample reserve dollars that IPL currently has. But in the long term, it will surely hasten the need to increase rates for the rest of us. I attended 2 electric rate committee meetings this week. At the first one, on Monday, it was stated that the municipal rate was to be 5 cents per kilowatt hour. At the second meeting this morning, that was changed to 8 cents per kilowatt hour. When the issue of legality was brought up, IPL staff stated that the city attorneys had reviewed it and determined that since the Bondurant decision in 1980 stated that the value of the power supplied to the city shall be calculated at the same rate as is applied to other customers which consume similar amounts of power. In 1980, this was based on the rate for large industrial customers. IPL staff used that as the basis to arrive at their current 8 cents per kilowatt hour rate that they proposed this morning. At some point during the intervening 40 years, the city was moved to the commercial customer rates instead of the industrial rate. For 2019, the city paid an average electric rate of about 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Reducing that to 8 cents per kilowatt hour would represent a rate reduction of a little over 27%. I believe that there are several issues that need to be raised. The PUAB has not been given the new rate tables to review yet. After the PUAB receives the new rate tables, they are to be given a reasonable time to review them and submit their findings and recommendations to the council before the council votes. I don't believe there is a need for a new municipal rate, nor do I think there is a need to change the city's billing from the current commercial rates to some other rate until a determination is made that such a change is warranted and justified. Just because it was based on the rate for the large industrial customers in 1980 doesn't mean that makes sense to base it on that same rate today. Plus, is it fair to the other ratepayers for the city to get a 27% rate reduction when the rest of us were only given 6%? The refund given last year seems to be well overstated and should be reviewed and adjusted. I sincerely hope that you will take the time to consider the concerns that I have raised and act accordingly. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Croft. Mr. Croft, I'm sorry. Okay, are there any citizens who wish to speak to the council? Okay, this takes us to our state of emergency proclamation, which I will read. Whereas the City of Independence, Missouri Charter provides the mayor the ability to proclaim a state of emergency to preserve the peace, property, and safety of its citizens. And whereas the City of Independence, Missouri is prepared to appropriately respond to the ongoing public health and safety risks to the residents and visitors of Independence, Missouri. And whereas Independence is the fifth largest city in Missouri with a diverse population and workforce within the 78 square mile jurisdiction, welcoming thousands of visitors to its various venues, businesses, and public buildings, and an emergency exists. Now therefore, I, Eileen N. Weir, Mayor of the City of Independence, Missouri, hereby declare that a state of emergency exists in Independence, Missouri, and hereby invoke and declare in full force and effect in Independence, Missouri, all laws and statutes of the state of Missouri and the City of Independence for the exercise of all necessary emergency authority for the protection of the lives and property of the people of Independence, Missouri, and with the restoration of local government with a minimum of interruption in accordance with Chapter 11, Section 12 of the Independence City Code. All public offices and employees of Independence, Missouri are hereby directed to exercise the utmost diligence in discharge of duties required of them for the duration of the emergency and in the execution of emergency laws, regulations, and directives, state and local. All citizens are called upon and directed to comply with necessary emergency measures, to cooperate with public officials in the City of Independence, Missouri, Jackson County, Missouri, and the State of Missouri emergency management agencies in executing emergency operational plans, and to obey and comply with the lawful directions of properly identified public offices. That is the proclamation declaring the state of emergency, and I will need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Thank you. Proclamation passes. This takes us to our consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Weir, I move to approve the reports and recommendations of the city manager.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any items any council member wishes pulled for separate consideration? Yes.
Item number 4.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll on the consent agenda minus item number 4?
Councilmembers Huff.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Councilman Robertson, item number 4.
I'm trying to get to it here.
Okay.
It was there's three items that are part of number 4 that had been approved under the $100,000 limit. The third one is one that I just had a question about, so I'd like to ask maybe the city manager or his designee to address that and explain that for us, if you would.
Certainly, and I was able to visit with our acting assistant general manager of Power and Light, Jim Nail, today. Jim's provided me with an update on each of these items, and I'll share that with the council at this time. Regarding the Toth and Associates, this is a professional services contract to provide engineering services for ongoing substation and transmission and distribution maintenance projects. This has been necessitated due to some vacancies that we're presently carrying in the engineering division, so we're utilizing professional services to help execute those projects. With New Park mats, we have maintenance projects to replace several transmission poles. The area in which this work is taking place is currently wet due to some of the spring rains and winter melt-off. That would result in some significant damage with the work that we're doing to the existing landscaping and vegetation. The right-of-way access that we have requires us to restore any damage that is done to the area. The use of these mats will minimize that damage. So we're paying for those costs directly instead of going through our contractor, which will also save us an additional 10%. With regard to the contract for services with Steve Teasing, Steve is a former city employee who during his time here focused on some of the small cell and pole attachment issues for the city. There's still ongoing compliance issues and negotiating some of those contracts with the cellular providers. So Steve has been retained as a contractor to complete work on the projects when those come up. He possesses a knowledge that's pretty unique there. So rather than hire an outside firm, we're just using Steve on a case-by-case basis as needed.
Okay, thank you.
So is this 50,000 like a contract?
It is
Or
a con-
he's-
it was a
He's
con-
already worked $50,000 worth of money?
And I want to get this right, so I'll ask Jim to come up and go ahead and clarify that for you as well.
Thanks.
Jim Nail, Acting Assistant General Manager, Power and Light. I'm afraid I'll have to get back to you on that one. I know he's been under contract since shortly after his retirement, so this is a accumulation of charges that he's incurred for the hours that he's worked.
Okay. It's $100,000 for engineering services and IPL in 1 month. That just seems like a lot of money in engineering services, that's all. And I know we have a hiring freeze, but I have to question if it's,
Both of those items are an accumulation of hours
so
submitted.
it's not just
No,
February?
it's not just February. No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks. Mayor Weir, I move approval of item number 4.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Item number 4 passes. This takes us to our public hearing. Our first public hearing is for the application by Ararat Shrine Association requesting a rezoning from R12 two-family residential and I-1 industrial to C1 neighborhood commercial for the property located at 11610 East Truman Road. This is new information only. Mr. Scannell.
Yes, Mayor and members of the council, my name is Tom Scannell. I'm the Community Development Director. At the January 28th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission did hear this rezoning and recommended approval of this rezoning, and there's no new information to report on this case.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the council on this public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-014, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District R12 two-family residential and I-1 industrial to District C1 neighborhood residential for the property at 11610 East Truman Road in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the application by Riyadh Baghdadi requesting a zoning from C1 neighborhood commercial to C2 general commercial for the property located at 517 to 17525 East US 24 Highway. What does this mean? Site is address, is that? Address 17515 East US 24 Highway. This is new information only. Mr. Scannell.
Yes, Mayor and members of the council, the Plan Commission at its February 11th Plan Commission meeting held a public hearing on this and recommended approval of this case, and there's no new information to report.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the council? Yes.
I've got a comment.
Okay.
This is out in my district. This is a great owner. He's ran other convenience stores like this, and we're happy to have him out there. He's gonna take an old ratty strip center and pull the whole face off of it, redo it, remodel the spaces in there, and he's gonna put gasoline in. We're currently, there's a tobacco store, a liquor store, and a pizza carryout place. They're gonna stay in there. They'll have remodeled spaces. So we're really excited to see something new out there. We've not seen anything out there in a long time, so I'm excited about that.
Very good. Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-016, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C1 Neighborhood Commercial to District C2 General Commercial for the property located at 17515 East US 24 Highway in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Van Camp,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, ordinance passes. Our last public hearing is on an application received from JD Biz LLC for a restaurant intoxicating liquor by the drink with Sunday sales license for the Tavern 24 located at 825 North Dakota Drive. This is a full public hearing. Is there any, Mr. Scannell, do you have anything to say on this before I open up the public hearing?
Yes, so JD Biz is seeking a restaurant intoxicating liquor by the drink with Sunday sales for the business also known as Tavern 24. Tavern 24 will occupy a total of almost 8,900 square feet, which includes 5,300 square feet on the main floor, an outdoor patio, as well as the lower area. This application meets the city's alcoholic beverage code, and I have nothing further to add.
Okay, very, very good. This is a full public hearing. Is anybody here wishing to speak in support of this application? Hello.
Hi, good evening, council. My name's Jason Dunlap. I just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the restaurant bar business for about 30 years. This is my 5th liquor license in the state of Missouri. This will be my 6th, actually. This will actually be my 3rd in Independence. I just wanted you guys to know that the Tavern 24 will be a well-run establishment with a good management team. And I look forward to doing business in Independence.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in support? Anybody? Oh, okay. Come forward.
Hello, City Council. My name is Ed Reese. I am the owner of the shopping center there where he's applying for this license. And I'll give you a little bit of history on that center. That center has been kind of dilapidated over the years. It was bought out by CVS next door, and they bought it for the reason to, there used to be a bar out front, Jersey's. They tore it down. They tore part of the shopping center down, and they built their nice, beautiful CVS there. But they treated the center like a forgotten stepchild. They didn't mow the grass there until the city got on them. They'd mow the grass at their place. They didn't do any maintenance on it. The center was pretty much empty when I bought it. I put a huge investment in there. I own the Wash House Laundry there. It's a beautiful laundromat. We get a lot of citizens that come in there. We've talked about the new bar and restaurant going in there. People make comments all the time that, well, when's it coming? Because if you live out there on that end of town, we all like Mexican food, but that gets a little old after a while. And there's not much place to go. And Jason here is not the typical bar food kind of guy. He makes a lot of stuff from scratch. So his food is very good. He's known for his food. And We're hoping that we get some city council approval on this. We feel like that this will be a anchor point tenant that'll help draw some other businesses and stuff into the center. That center is unfortunately deed restricted by CVS, so there's a lot of, anything that CVS sells or does, we cannot put in that center. So, you know, it is a struggle, and that's one of the reasons why that center sat there for so long vacant. I stepped up to the plate and bought it. We put a lot of money in it. We have plans to put more money into it as we get more tenants, and we're just trying to revive the neighborhood. I grew up in that area my whole life, so I know how it is, and that's about all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reese.
Uh-huh.
Is there anybody, I'm going to conclude the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Okay, the public hearing, is there any comments from the council? Yes, Councilmember.
Thank you. This has been a challenging one out here. This was the old Blockbuster video that sat separate next on the lot. It was very inadequate, the water line to it. So when Mr. Reese took it over, he found out that he couldn't support many businesses. And like he'd said, because of CVS, you can't have a Hallmark store there because they sold cards. You can't have a Mary Kay Cosmetics. They sold cosmetics. You can't have beauty brands. You can't sell groceries. You can't sell liquor. You can't sell tobacco. So you narrow it down to where it was very hard to rent. And the space now comes under the new fire code. He has to sprinkle this space. So he's got quite an investment in there. And as it sets, they could, you know, we all love, he says, Mexican food and Kung Pao chicken. Those places could move in tomorrow without any scrutiny at all. But because they want to have like an Applebee's, TGI Fridays type atmosphere, they're asking for this liquor permit. And it's something that we've really been excited about because we have nothing in an upscale sit-down restaurant out there. So it's something that's it's going to be good. It will keep that thing revived and hopefully have more tenants come out there soon. So I'd like to see support on this.
Okay,
Madam Mayor?
yes.
I do have questions. I noticed in the inspection reports by the various city agencies, the police report questioned your outside patio and the fact that you're going to have live music. I used to live out there, and I remember very well when it was Jersey's and when it was my brother's place, and both those establishments were not an asset to our community. And so I'm very concerned because Blockbuster, this site, is much closer to the homes out there than Jersey's Bar, later my brother's place, ever was. So I'm concerned, the patio's almost 600 square feet. Is the live music going to just be inside your building? Did you have a neighborhood meeting to let people know you're talking about having a bar right there? If you could maybe, I mean, I agree that we need development. I just want to make sure it's the right development for out there, Mr. Doherty, that's all.
I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
My name's Jason Dunlap.
Okay, Mr. Dunlap, can I ask a question?
Sure.
In the description that I read, I know from representing that area of town, what they have been asking for decades is a nice place to come and have a sit-down dinner with, bring friends. And it sounds to me from the description that we received that this is not a bar, that this is a tavern that serves food and, drinks, beer, wine, cocktails for people to have while they're enjoying their meal.
Yes.
So I think the food I'm not familiar with the previous establishments, but this to me is really a food business that wants to be able to serve alcohol. Is that an accurate description?
Well, I absolutely, kind of my bread and butter is food, so.
Okay.
So you might say I'm not the typical, when Ed said I'm
Okay.
not the typical bar owner. Food is a big part of my business. I think my other location now, I think we're in the 70 to 80% food range, which is way above most taverns,
Okay.
As far as the live music goes, we're kind of applying for that live music license in kind of just in case. We don't plan on having live entertainment frequently, like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. It's going to be more of an event type of thing. I just wanted to have that license in place just in case. But it will be a full-service restaurant. There will be a bar. And I am very, very, very experienced in managing bars. And out of all my liquor license, I've never had any citations. I've never had any problems. I run a very tight ship. I'm no nonsense on fighting. I'm no nonsense on any disturbances to the neighborhood. I believe that the neighborhood is going to think of me as an asset and not as a hindrance. And, you know, once again, you can rest assured, you know, problems happen. When alcohol's involved, problems happen, and I understand that. But, you know, if you're going to have somebody running a bar out there, I'm your guy, so.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, Mr. Dunlap? Don't leave yet. So I'm looking at your plan here. So your patio would be facing more on the north side, around where all the parking lots are, in the same area, then cross the street into North Dakota, the Sable lot. So that'd be all parking lots, so we're not next to any residential area for that. So that should be a help with any kind of loud music.
Right.
If that helps the councilwoman.
Thank you.
And there won't be any live music outdoors. It'll be all inside. Yeah, there's also a buffer. It's going to be more of a cafe-style patio. So, I mean, it's only 6 feet, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but there's no room for any kind of live music outside. And we kind of had to have that patio in that area just because of the way the building's set up. There's no back to the building. You know, the way it's designed, kind of a patio style, sidewalk style, cafe style patio is how it will be. It'll be sit-down tables where you'll get full service to eat and drink.
And how late are you going to be open? Do you know?
Well, probably Sunday and Monday, probably midnight, to be determined. Wednesday, Thursday, weekends 1:30.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I was just thinking, we had this same concern when we put the place in Councilman Perkins, the little barbecue joint had an outdoor patio with music. And it's not been a problem. It's what they do is the way they turn the speakers, they're not towards the residents, which back up to that place also. But because of that live music, that place has been a huge success in an area that was never able to keep anything in there ever. So this is something that if they do have it, it makes it more successful, brings in more revenue, and has a really nice place. So I think that is an asset.
Anything else? Okay, this public hearing is closed. This will require a 2/3 majority vote because of the proximity to residential property. Madam State Clerk, will you please call the roll? Oh, why don't you read it and then we'll call the roll.
Council action is requested on the application received from JD Biz LLC for a restaurant intoxicating liquor by the drink with Sunday sales license for Tavern 24 located at 825 North Dakota Drive.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
DeLucy,
I'm relying on you. Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Van Camp,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Absolutely, yes. Welcome to the neighborhood. Motion pass, ordinance passes. We do have one non-ordinance action item. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-717, directing the city manager to postpone the imposition of pass-through credit card convenience fees for all customer credit card payments for services, including utility bill payments, through at least April 30th, 2020.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Van Camp,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, item passes. This takes us to I'm sorry, my agenda printed weird. We have one second reading this evening, Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 20-015, an ordinance authorizing a contract with Oikos Development Corporation, ODC, as a qualifying community housing development organization for the development of affordable housing, utilizing home program funds, an amount not to exceed $173,685. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes, ordinance passes. This brings us to our first readings. These will be scheduled for second reading on April the 6th. At this point, that meeting is intended to happen, but we will continue to monitor our emergency situation and notify the public if that meeting is rescheduled or canceled. We do have one emergency reading this evening. Mr. City Manager, I understand maybe we would prefer to pull this. There was some confusion about some of the calculations that were presented to the council.
It's my understanding, yes, that we have some numbers. This is a budget balancing ordinance that we do routinely throughout the fiscal year. As such, that we want to make sure we got the calculations correct in there, as it would impact our accounting. So if we could have that withdrawn and continued to the April 6th meeting, it would be appreciated.
Okay, is there, do we need to vote on that?
Now you'll need to make a motion to postpone it.
Okay.
Move to postpone to April 6th.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
Van Camp.
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes. Motion passes. Proceed with first readings.
Bill number 20-017, an ordinance authorizing a development agreement with Truman Heritage Habitat for Humanity, THHFH, as a qualifying community housing development organization for the development of affordable housing utilizing home program funds in an amount not to exceed $399,449. Bill number 20-018, an ordinance authorizing a purchase order with Key Equipment and Supply Company for an Elgin Broom Street sweeper for $170,602.20 and appropriating $170,602.20 from the general fund unassigned fund balance. Bill number 20-019, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to approve a cost share agreement with the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission for the US 24 Cost Share Project Phase 1 and increasing appropriations. Bill number 20-020, an ordinance approving a special use permit to operate a vehicle sales business at 12101 East US 40 Highway in Independence, Missouri. Bill number 20-021, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of additional funding from U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Marshals Service through the Joint Law Enforcement Operations Program for use by the Police Department and making the necessary appropriations. Bill number 20-022, an ordinance approving a special use permit to operate a vehicle sales business at 101 East US 24 Highway in Independence, Missouri. Bill number 20-023.
Mayor Ware,
Yes.
can I say something about the one she's about to read? Before she reads it? So this has to do with the Independence Power and Light schedule for electric rates and especially for the municipal rate specifically is what I wanted to comment on. So I haven't read totally this packet because I just got it today. But from what I have seen and heard and talked about with a few of the employees here, the municipal rate basically is now going to be the same as the large industrial rate at 8 cents a kilowatt hour. And so I don't really see that there's a need for a separate rate category for the municipal rate. And I would like to move, maybe even tonight, to change that and have the city rate be the large industrial rate. If we're in that large industrial category, we're going to be paying the exact same amount, and there's no reason to have another rate category called municipal rate category. So I would like to move to amend the motion. But the other thing I wanted to mention, and this goes back to the Bondurant ruling from years ago, from what I understand, one of the problems with that particular lawsuit was that the city was not paying pilots on the money it paid for the electricity, but they were collecting pilots. In other words, they were getting money from the utility for the money that they paid in, but they weren't paying the money in. And so I haven't read through this, so I don't know if that's a problem with this particular rate study, but I just want to make sure, and I don't think we necessarily have to even pass it right away because it says October. It's not going to go into effect till October. I just want to make sure that we're either going to be paying pilots and getting pilots, or we're not going to pay pilots and we're not going to collect pilots, just so there's a wash. There should be a wash according to that particular Bondurant ruling that was so long ago. So if I could get either a postponement until we look at whether that's the case with.
Councilman, if I may.
Yes.
This is first reading.
Yes.
The Council Utilities Committee has looked at this twice. The PUAB has looked at it once. The PUAB will look at it again
Okay.
before it comes back to the council for a second reading, which will be no sooner than April the 6th. We have discussed the Bondurant impact of this. Our city attorney has provided a memo to us regarding that. I'm sure, Mr. City Manager, if you'd like to share any other information in response to the councilman's questions and concerns, I don't think that we need to, at this juncture, before everybody really has had a chance to look at this. The Council Utilities Committee met today. So, you know, I don't know that we need to be making changes tonight before we really give people an opportunity to look at what's being presented before them. But if you'd like to address any of the concerns that have been raised.
Certainly. I will continue to consult with the city attorney and her team to make sure the appropriateness of the pilot is reflected in the rate schedule that is in front of this council. Just want to be certain with the information that we communicate that it's accurate. And so if we can use the next 3 weeks between now and April 6th to do so, and any other questions that come from the council or the community or the PUAB, we'll make sure those get addressed in advance of that too. The reason that it is important that we get this decided by the council sooner rather than later, the budget that we are developing right now to be submitted in accordance with the city charter at the beginning of May contemplates a certain rate scenario and you know, from all customer classes. If that's modified in any way, that impacts the revenue and the expenditures in the budget, and we need to make adjustments therein. So the sooner that this is decided by the council, it gives us adequate time to make adjustments as necessary to the submitted budget.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm confused, though. I watched the PUAB meeting, I looked at the numbers, and then when I got here tonight, there was a whole new proposal.
Right, 'cause
So
the
I
Council
haven't seen it.
Utilities Committee has met twice, and it will go back to discuss this, and then it will go back to the PUAB before it comes back to the council for a second reading.
Okay.
But I haven't seen this, right? I mean, this is different than what the PUAB looked at and I looked at.
This is different than, yes, went to the PUAB. I should have mentioned one other thing in reference to what Councilmember Robertson said. This now has been modified to reflect the large industrial user category. The information that was prepared to be considered tonight for the council reflected the previous path that we had gone down, which was a standalone municipal rate. It's no longer the route we are proceeding, so if we would like to amend this just to reflect the city being a part of a large industrial rate, that would be appropriate to do so. But to your question, Councilwoman, this is different than what was presented, and that's why it's going back to those bodies for additional review and consideration.
Are we going to be able to advertise the PUAB discussion of this municipal rate, considering we're really discouraging people from attending meetings? I think it's very important.
Broadcasting, you mean? Broadcasting that?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
So, Councilmember, and I wanted to say this as a general statement, we are discouraging meetings of boards and commissions that do not have urgent business that needs to be decided on by the council. In discussions today with the city attorney and the city manager, we looked at what the sunshine law will allow under a state of emergency, because the sunshine law typically does not allow for any kind of remote meetings. We made the determination today that we feel that unless something radically changes in the next several days, the PUAB can meet as scheduled on Thursday. We will continue to encourage our citizens to limit their exposure, but it'll be certainly open to the public and broadcast, so people are welcome to come. Now, you know, of course, this is a day-by-day situation with this this COVID-19, so that's subject to change, but as of today, the determination was to proceed with a PUAB meeting as usual, provide a call-in number for those members of the PUAB who would prefer to call in by phone, that we can allow for plenty of lines on that call if citizens want to call in and listen, so that we will meet the criteria of an open meeting, certainly.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
She needs to read the.
Oh, you do need to.
Yeah,
read it.
I interrupted her from reading it.
Bill number 20-023, an ordinance amending City of Independence Power and Light Department schedule of electric rates to be effective for the monthly billing period beginning October 1st, 2020, under which electric utility service shall be furnished to all customers of Independence Power and Light.
Okay, so, of course I have questions. All city buildings are gonna be under the large industrial rate, no matter what their usage is? Is that what I'm hearing on this new proposal?
I'm going to go ahead and have Acting Assistant General Manager Jim Nail come up and answer all these questions for you.
Thank you.
Council, Madam Mayor, again, the intent of the municipal rate was to treat the municipal accounts as one customer. That usage last year was in excess of 800,000 kilowatt hours, which would make them equivalent to our large users such as Burton Fletcher, Smart Warehouses. All of those accounts together would be considered one customer, and the rate that we came up with is that 8 cents per kilowatt hour for that as a whole. So yes, all the municipal buildings would be treated as one customer.
And what would the customer charge be?
It's the $10 per a customer charge like we've had on the other accounts.
Okay.
And then the difference between the large users and this municipal rate is the large users also include a demand charge in addition to the usage charge. What we did was we took a look at all the usage over the year for all those municipal accounts, rolled that all together, figured out what would their demand charge be, what would their usage charge be, and then we just calculated that into a single rate as opposed to the tiers and the other things.
So the large industrial rate is 8 cents,
No, the large
No?
industrial, they have a demand charge
okay?
and they have a usage charge that those together determine their bill. What we did was we took that, incorporated all that into $1 amount, divided it by the usage that the city had, and that would be an equivalent of 8 cents per kilowatt hour. And you'll find the rate, that actually would fall under the special contract interruptible rate, which is offered to our industrial users.
And that was my next question. What in God's name is the interruptible rate? What does that mean?
A special contract interruptible rate is a special rate that we offer if the customer is willing to allow us to disconnect their power temporarily in cases of high load. Most of our industrial users don't want to take that risk, so they opt not to take that contract. But it is a rate that's offered to our industrial users. But it allows us to use them for temporary load shedding in the event of a high load situation.
Do we have any now?
We have
I've
two,
never
we have
heard
two
that.
customers that are on this special contract, Bird and Fletcher and Smart Warehouse.
Okay. And so their kilowatt hour charge is,
They
What?
have both a demand charge and a kilowatt charge. I believe it's 5 or 6 cents. I'd have to, I don't have it in front of me, but because it's a combination of demand charge and usage charge, rather than complicate that with all of our municipal buildings, we just took that as one single charge that would be equivalent.
okay, I'm looking at the large power, it's .081 hours per kilowatt hour. That's the charge.
There's a separate page for the special interruptible rate.
Okay.
It's on page 37 of 78, is where that starts. It explains what the contract is, what the conditions are. And then on page 41, you see they have the demand charge of $8.46 for their demand, and then two different tiers at 5.7 cents and 5 cents a kilowatt hour for their usage.
Okay, so the large power has a demand charge, the interruptible rate has a demand charge, the municipal rate does not have a demand charge.
We took what it would have been, if we used a demand charge, we took that amount of money and what the usage rate would have been, took that total amount, divided it by the kilowatt hour so that we had just a flat rate for the municipal buildings.
I'm just saying it doesn't have a demand charge, right? That's all I'm
It's
saying.
incorporated.
Gotcha.
The 8 cents incorporates those two together.
And the large power is .08 cents, and the municipal charge is .08 cents. And the interrupting rate is .05 cents, right?
Correct.
Okay? And then there is a power cost adjustment for the large power, but there is not a power cost adjustment for the interrupting? Or
The
there
power
is?
cost adjustment would apply to
All of
all
us?
accounts. And
Even
that'll
the
be
city?
figured out on an annual basis.
So
Or
even to
or
the
sooner
city?
if it's a big change,
Even to the city?
even to the city.
Okay. So the customer charge is $50 or $75, or if you're the municipal charge, it's $10.
We applied the $10 charge, and again, the $10 charge plus the 8 cents per kilowatt hour would be equivalent to the customer charge plus the demand charge plus the usage charge that's on the
As
other
a
rates.
resident, is my customer charge $10?
Yes, it is.
And the City of Independence demand, customer charge is $10?
Yes, it is.
Same customer charge?
Same customer charge.
Am I paying for traffic signals under the municipal charge?
There is I believe that was $90 per month.
That's the demand charge. I want to know if I'm
No,
paying
no,
for
on
the
the-
electricity.
Page 43.
It's $90 per month customer charge. But my question is, am I paying for the electricity to the traffic signals?
The $90 charge for the traffic signals is to take into account the electric usage over the course of the year.
And how was that number figured?
They look at the type of lights that are used, the number of signals that are there, and then just an average usage over the hours that the traffic signals are in use.
And who did that? We did? The city did?
It was an analysis done. I'd have to ask who actually did it, but yes, they study how much power is consumed by those lights on average.
And is the city paying for streetlights?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. What is the city not paying for that I, as a resident, would be paying for?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay. And when is the PUAB meeting on this? Do you know?
It should be this Thursday.
It's this coming Thursday? It's at 2:30. It's at the utility building?
I assume it's at the same location.
That's what's currently planned.
Okay.
That's, a long way from now in COVID-19 land, but.
God
this-
bless you, I
yeah.
know that. Okay. If it changes, could you let me know so that I could put it on my Facebook page?
We certainly can.
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
I'll have more questions later.
On that, to clarify on them traffic signals, like these monument things in front of housing additions and stuff, they're not metered because there's not enough electricity, just kind of that light, backlight for, like Mountain Estates has one, Thomas Shaw, I don't know if they have one out there, but, so there's not enough usage, so they did a calculation years and years ago, and they just figured that charge into that, because they don't meter that, there's not enough to meter, it just sit there and, it'd be so little that it would never read anything.
Okay.
That's why they did that, on that anyway.
Okay, we postponed our last emergency reading, so this takes us to council member comments. I'll start on my right with council member Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing this evening.
Councilmember Perkins.
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Huff.
Nothing this evening.
Councilmember DeLucy.
God, I hate to do this, but I do have one question. The Planning Commission, within a few of the reports we had tonight as first readings on vehicle used car lots, they twice said, is the city looking at ever limiting the number of used car lots? And I'm just suggesting that maybe we take a look at it, because they've repeated that request a few times, and I don't know that we've ever really answered them. And I don't know if it's legal for us to limit them. I have no idea. But I just thought, they've asked now quite a number of times, so maybe we should ask them.
I will talk with,
Answer them.
yeah, I'll talk with the community development director and provide a response back to the council about what we've done historically and maybe what's on the books now, and give the council some recommendations to consider.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because of this coronavirus emergency that we're under right now, that I think it's important for all of us to realize that we're all in this together. We're all, as a community, as a business of the city, as citizens of the city. And I think it's real important to think about how we can help and protect each other. Because there's a lot of vulnerable people in our community. And so I would encourage people not to make physical contact, but through phone or electronically, at least make contact with your neighbors and your friends and your family, and keep tabs and keep track of each other. Because there may be some people that need some direction or assistance, advice. They may need you to take a roll of toilet paper that everybody's out of. But things like this can bring the community together, and I think this is a time that we need to realize, that we are in this together, that we are dependent on each other. It makes us realize, really what is most important, and that is our relationships with our neighbors and our family and our friends. So just wanted to encourage everybody to make those contacts. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Van Camp.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
I've had a lot of words to say over the last few days. I'm almost talked out, but not quite. Just again, please continue to stay in communication with us through our social media and other methods. If you have ideas about how we can reach more people, the main defense on this right now is awareness and education. So if there's more that we could be doing to make sure that everybody in our community is informed about the measures that we're taking, please do let us know. I think all of us are accessible. Our numbers are available on the city website, email, and we will be checking that. We may be having staff work from home from time to time as the situation requires, but we will do our best to be available for anything related to this emergency that we're currently under, and we will do our best to continue to keep the community informed. Mr. City Manager, anything else?
Just want to thank the council for helping us to communicate with the public about the COVID-19 outbreak. I want to thank our senior leadership team for the hours they put in over the last few days as this really began to evolve and escalate to help us have a coordinated response. As I was sitting here tonight, email came out about a survey of what the area cities are doing, and I can tell you your city is ahead of the curve on this in terms of our response. We are taking measures that are really, I think, putting our public health and our employees' health at the forefront. So I think we're doing what we can, and I feel pleased about that, and we'll continue to monitor this and respond as the situation calls for. And that is all for tonight.
Okay, we are adjourned.